adult or we as parent have considered their emotion. So, and at end of each day, whenever that routine has been followed, however it has been followed, just ask your child like, what is the one positive thing that or fun thing that you can think of today? Now, positive thing or fun thing should not only be related or confined to activity. It could be a sort of emotion that they experience. And most of the time, it will happen that, for example, I ask my child, okay, what is the fun thing or positive thing about today? So they might not know what to answer or what sort of, because they have not yet developed this sort of sensibility to figure out positive and negative and this kind of aspect. So before we let our child answer, maybe we can answer and we can talk about one or two positive things that we felt. So it could be as simple as, I really enjoyed you smiling today. I really like the fact that when, Dad, when Papa cracked this joke or when Papa made this funny sound and you were laughing so beautifully, that was a very positive day, positive incident for me in the whole day. So this is how we can teach our children that even emotions, the positive emotions that they feel, could be a plus point for the whole day, even if there are certain things that does not go the way they had wanted. Now, of course, this is a favorite point for all of us that when we tell our child to stop watch TV, and this is a problem also that it becomes a huge, sometimes it becomes like a huge argument or a huge sort of a topic, oh no, why mama is asking me to stop watching TV and don't take away my phone, things like that. However, when we give this instruction that please stop watching TV or stop using phone, that is the half of the instruction. What we need to do as parents is to give them alternate options. See, if a child is engaging in themselves in TV or mobile phone, it's because most probably they are getting bored, or maybe because they have developed this sort of belief by again observing the adults who were around them, that okay, this is what we do for fun. So we need to change that idea that having fun is not just to watch movie or not just to watch TV, but also certain other activities, and be part of that activity with our child. It should not be okay, just like I tell my child to stop watching TV and go do some drawing. No, it should not be like that. It should be like, okay, let's switch off the TV and let's just start to draw something. Mama will also draw with you, and let's call Papa also. Let's call your little sister or brother as well, and it could be a very fun activity. Now then, of course, it is listening is a very key aspect. We always want our children to listen to us, but how many times do we listen to what they are trying to say? So giving attention to them in the sense that we just listen to what they're saying and just try to understand that where this thing is coming from. This is a very important aspect. Now, create a positive learning environment. When we talk about creating positive learning environment, it is about how we are modeling the environment, the tone, the volume, the words, the sort of behavior, the facial expression, that sort of environment for a child. Because like I said, child is always learning and always observing these minute details that we sometimes feel like कि अरे ये तो बच्चा है इसको क्या समझ आएगा इतना, but नहीं, children are very intelligent. They are this vacant vessel where they are just grasping and grasping from everywhere. So it is very important to have this sort of positive learning environment, and it does get difficult when children are showing challenging behavior, because like adults, they do not have the power to regulate their emotions and regulate their behavior like we do. However, we most of the time end up saying stop doing that, but children do not listen to that aggressive manner. In fact, they are learning that aggressive manner of controlling the situation or of disciplining that situation from us. So instead of saying stop doing that, we should just give them some alternate things to do, or we should give them some alternate options that they can choose from, and always praise them for whatever they are doing correct. We often only get like put our attention to what our child is doing wrong, what our child is not able to do correctly, but most of the time we are not giving half of the importance to what our child is doing correctly. So it could be a very small thing, for example, me asking for a glass of water and they giving that glass of water to me. Praise that wonderfully, that, oh my God, you're such a good human being. You're such a good energy. You're such a wonderful child. Even that small little behavior and your praising just by using words and using your hugs and kisses would just enhance that confidence and self concept of that child. So, as adults, we are the role model for our children. So, be an empathetic listener and do some family activity. Now, how to develop empathy? Empathy is very much different from sympathy. We do not want to sympathize, but we want to empathize. Empathize meaning uh, understanding another person's perspective as if that perspective was our own. So, standing in someone else's shoes is basically the same. Now, the skill or the technique that you can use is to listen others without judging. So it is not just for us as parents, it is also something that we can teach our children. So we can teach our child, we should listen to others without judging. If they are sharing some story and you feel like they are making some sort of judgment or some sort of harsh judgment about someone or something, we can pinpoint that and we can try to channelize that judgment into something better. Like, there are a lot of sides to stories and we should always be open to a lot of other perspectives. So feel what others are feeling, feel what your child is feeling. If your child is crying, do not get irritated. Even if there are like a lot of chaotic things, and I understand it becomes very stressful for us, but then just try to imagine, like, if some other fellow adult in front of you would come and they would cry, you would not feel good. You would want to care for them. You would want to think, okay, why is this person crying? So similarly, we need to be with our children as well, where we just forget about our own emotions and then just concentrate on why our child is crying, what is that they want, and if something that they are showing some challenging behavior where they are not able to understand you, maybe a different approach is required. Making them understand. So here the role of positive disciplining comes when a child is misbehaving or when a child is showing some sort of challenging behavior. It is very important to just redirect them, and most of the time it happens. जब हम बच्चों का ध्यान, whenever we divert their attention, everything becomes very normal. As soon as like we go, okay, look over there. Oh my God, this is what is this happening? Okay, let's do this thing. Let's play this game. Okay, let's try to cook something new. Let's try to explore something new. Let's try to go out and have a walk. So whenever we redirect them, the behavior aspect automatically gets nullified. Instead of shouting at them, or instead of telling them no, or using some words like don't do this, no, stop it, using words of like, yeah, might make our child quiet for a moment, but it is something which is leading to long-term negative effects. And of course, we need to find out reasons for any sort of behavior, whether it is tantrum, whether it is aggressive behavior, whether it is low behavior, whether it is them wanting to stay aloof and alone. It's just that, like I said, like, we adults can regulate our behavior and can understand and regulate our emotions more appropriately, but that is not the case for a child, because child is experiencing the same level and same intensity of emotions like us. However, they are still in the exploration phase. They are still in the phase of where they are still trying to figure out, okay, what kind of emotion is leading to what kind of sensibility or sensitivity in me. So we need to be very patient or very in sort of like understanding always like what is happening with them. So use consequences. It is better than hitting or shouting. Consequences would be, अगर आपने homework कर लिया अपना अच्छे से, so you will be getting so and so treat. Maybe it could be a gold star. Maybe it could be a weekly sort of a thing. Maybe it could be a favorite dish that your child likes or enjoys. However, if you won't do that, then maybe your playtime will be reduced. Maybe your TV watching schedule will be decreased by 20 or 30 minutes, or maybe once a week or twice a week. So these kind of consequences, because then the child learns that, okay, whatever I do, I need to be very watchful of what kind of decision or what kind of behavior I choose to do, because it has its own consequences, and the consequences would be on me. So this is another a life lesson, because once a child grows, punishment will not help. Just saying that stop doing that or just taking away their things won't help. So once a child grows, of course they get more complex, they get more intensified and more deeper. So this is a sort of a thing which is like a life lesson and a life skill for our children. So there are five positive disciplining criteria. So I'll just go in short for this. So listening beyond words. Children are saying, no, I hate you, stop doing that, I do not like it. But we do not want to listen to what words they are choosing. We want to listen to the emotion or the idea because of which these words are coming out. Validate feelings, like saying statements like, I see that you're upset right now, I see that you're feeling hurt, would you like to talk about it? What is making you this much hurt? Why I see that you're upset right now, I see that you do not like what is happening right now, would you like to talk about it? Validating feelings makes child feel that what kind of emotion they're feeling is normal. It is something which is going to happen, and there would be circumstances where they might experience these kind of emotions, but it is something which will pass on. Now another thing, another cool concept that we can do as family is like keep family meeting maybe once a week or once every day before going to bed, where in this meeting where everyone will be sitting, and maybe we can put up some charts also to make it more visual for our children, and we can just utilize this time, whether it is 30 minutes, 20 minutes, or 1 hour, to talk about the whole day and how everyone felt, what take they have. Parents can start talking first, and then slowly and gradually the children will see and children will observe, and they will also start sharing. Have fun with children. Of course, this is a very important aspect, not just for the learning perspective, but for also to have your own stress management technique. So when we have this sort of belief that, okay, I'm just feeling too much, I'm getting this much burnout, I'm feeling fatigued. Okay, let's do one thing. I'll just go and have some sort of fun with my child, because obviously having fun with child, they when they laugh, when they smile, it automatically lightens our mood as well. So it is a stress management technique for us more than it is beneficial for our children, because it makes them feel love, it makes them feel secure, they feel like they are very important. We can assign some sort of responsibility to them. We can in school we have class monitors, and there are certain small roles assigned to children. At home also we can do that. And since we have this pandemic to be thankful for or ungrateful for, we can assign them a role of keeping hygiene check, or this sort of responsibility, where they make sure that everyone is washing their hands before eating, or everyone is keeping the area clean. So physical games and physical exercise are very important. We can have fun activities like telling stories, singing songs. I will be sharing some more activities later on. Then having realistic expectation from our child. So any kind of expectation that burdens the child, where the child feels very much agitated and very irritated, that kind of expectation is not a healthy expectation for our child. before setting any expectation for our child, we need to understand that our child is another individual being and they will grow and they will evolve at their own pace. Appreciate any work that our child has done. We had already discussed about this, that praising is always a good sign. Motivate them and encourage them to do new interests, to take up new interests like reading, singing, drawing, not just so that they can excel in a particular field, but so that they have this sort of exploration enthusiasm in them, so that they feel like, okay, this is new, I will give it a try. Whether I like it or not, whether I excel at it or not, that is not the question, but I will try it. So that this type of enthusiasm is very important. Take care of health and eat healthy. Even if we are at home and we are not going out, it is very important to still practice these safety measures, so that once lockdown gets over, once offline schools will start and our children starts to go out, at least they will have this habit of always taking care of themselves. So the wearing masks, sneezing on in their sneezing or coughing in the elbow, and washing your hands with soap and water. These small habits are very important. To eat healthy and to have good exercise. Exercise automatically increases the mood, and it's not just for children, but for us also, because it is a very stressful time for us. And when we exercise, when we move our brain automatically produces serotonin, which is related to our mood. So the more serotonin, the more our mood is good, and we feel less agitated as well as our child. Now, we also need to teach our children how to be safe from strangers and certain abuses. So, we need to talk to our child about safe, unsafe touch. We need to tell our children about setting boundaries, and also we need to tell our children that if something or someone made them feel unsafe, they should definitely come to us and talk about it. There is nothing to be ashamed of that. So here is an image where there are different type of body parts, and different colors has been assigned to which area is okay to touch, which area is like I'm not comfortable with this, and which areas are completely a big no. Then by 5 age, the child should be aware about certain concepts like my body is my own. If I don't want anyone or someone to touch my body, I have a right to say no. There should be no secret keepings, even if an adult is telling them to keep some secret, especially where private parts or their body is related. There is no need to keep that as a secret. In fact, if someone tells them to do that, they should definitely report that. And children should also be known about at least five adults with whom they can share certain uncomfortable incidents where they feel comfortable by sharing, and we can take necessary precautions. Now here I'll be talking about certain activities for the foundational stage of schooling, which is very beneficial for children of 3 to 8 years. For the foundational stage, the learning should have these ideas and these concepts behind them, that it should be very flexible. There should be different teaching techniques. It should have different type of aspects to it. There should be easy level, and then there should be difficult level as well. The activities or the learning should be play based and activity based, and it should always be inquiry based learning, where it is not just the child who's asking the question, but we as parent or we as adults can also ask questions for like, uh, hey, look up at the sky, why is this cloud over here, why the sky is looking so cloudy or gray in color, why is it today so sunny, let's talk about this. So these kind of things, when we also ask question, our children feel like that, okay, it's okay to ask question. And obviously we always need to tell them that there are no stupid questions. And of course, it should comprise the play or the activities that we will be talking about, include all of these things: alphabets, language, number, counting, color, shapes. All of these concepts are very important for the foundational stage. Then it should include indoor, outdoor play. Outdoor, if not to the park, but at least to the balcony or to our terrace. Uh, Drawing, painting, there should be some craft, and also drama, puppetry, music, and some sort of movement. Movement is very important at this stage because this helps them to develop motor coordination. So the first activity could be naming things, where we ask the child to name different objects that are available in the house. Or before eating, we can just make a very fun activity to do. For example, I have dash. So it would be like, I'll ask my child, okay, so we will be completing the sentences of each other. Let's see, what do I have? So I'll maybe just pick up a carrot, a piece of carrot, and I'll be like, do you know what is this? I do not know what is this. I have what? So maybe the child would say carrot, maybe the child would say something else, maybe the child would just say orange or whatever. But that would be an opportunity for us to teach them, or for us to have this sort of productive interaction with our children. And similarly, our child, we will give this opportunity of asking to our child also, where they will be asking what I have from us. So they can ask, Mama, Papa, what do I have? So we can name that thing, or we can deliberately act as if, oh, what is it? I don't know. Do you know? Please teach me. What is it? Like that. So it becomes very amazing, because children are laughing. They think that, oh my God, these are adults and they don't know what this is. So it becomes very fun. And dress up is another very fun activity. So most of the time, we think like these activities are waste of time, where children are dressing up, or children are just having fun, moving around with the clothes or pieces of clothes. But that's not it, because dress up and all of these things helps a child to create something, create this sort of phenomena that, okay, how does a model look? How does a girl wear a cloth? If you had this sort of personality where you feel like that you are a very shy kid, or if you were some very famous celebrity, how would you dress? So these things are very important, because of that, the creativity aspect of our child becomes very broadened, and this helps them to solve the problem using very new approaches and very new technique. After all, intelligence is all about how a person utilizes their available resources to solve any sort of problem. So we giving them these resources like dupatta, scarves, and encouraging them to just create some sort of outfit or some costume with that, is us telling them, or is us giving them an opportunity to enhance that cognitive and creative aspect. Hunting shapes, we can just tell our child, okay, like we can make a square or a circle, and we can just tell that, okay, this is the shape we are going to hunt today. This is the shape that has been like hiding in a lot of objects, and we need to find the shape in from those objects. So we need to collect those objects, and we can also be a part of it. It becomes more fun. So children will learn the concept of different shapes, and how different shapes are all around us, how different shapes are all around in the objects that we see day to day life. Name that noise. This is another very fun activity, because here you can either play some sort of random noise or some animal noise on your phone, or much better, you can try to develop your own skill of producing different type of sounds, where you maybe moo like a cow or roar like a lion, and then the child would they can also try to mimic some animal noises and animal sounds. Then body game, where we just give them or assign them or ask them, okay, where are my eyes? Can you tell me where are my eyes? Okay, I cannot find my ears. Where are my ears? Can you see my ears? Like that, it becomes very fun. So children always find us more bearable when we are, like acting or pretending to be as if like, oh my God, I need your help. when we are in this position where we try to ask help from our children automatically things like, okay, we need to take care of this big human being because they're not able to take care of themselves. So this whole idea becomes just too funny and very enjoyable. And these things and sharing these moments are obviously a huge stress buster for us. So toddlers love challenge because they are just learning to use their body, they're just learning to use their coordination. So whenever we challenge them to like, okay, let's see who can walk faster, let's see who can brush their teeth more appropriately. In these kind of challenges or these kind of fun approaches towards daily chores can become very fruitful for our children. Then kitchen drama, where we use safe utensils and then we just let our child make some noise. It's okay. Noise can be disruptive for us, but that is not the priority. The priority is that our child is having the safe space where they feel like they can just be themselves. They can just be this crazy ball of energy in front of us, because that safety, that securement is very important. Then free draw, we can give some sandpaper to our children and we can give crayons, and when they draw on them and when we give this sort of texture paper and texture objects to our child, it develops their tactile sensation. So जो sandbox होता है या mud, इनमें it is not possible for us to arrange these things every day, or it is not easy to manage, but sandpaper and crayons is a very good combination when we talk about tactile sensation. Then ball pass game, which obviously is very important for your child's eye motor coordination, like where to throw the ball and how to catch the ball, where the ball is coming from and where the ball is going. This is also a very fun activity. Then hide and hunt, where we hide certain objects. So my my nephew would be like hiding his Pikachu under blanket, and then he'll just look at me with those big beautiful eyes and he'll be like, Pikachu. And I'm like, where is Pikachu? Where is Pikachu? I cannot find it. And then he'll just reveal it and have a big laugh and have a big fun. So that is another thing, because it helps child to discover and identify and remembering and memory. So this is the aspect behind this game. Family band is another fun group activity where we can include kitchen drummer and we can just like have some sort of sound, some sort of music, and just have a blast where we all are laughing. And trust me, this is a very exciting activity to do. Imagining games where we again ask our child to use the available resources. Again, we don't have to buy some expensive stuff for our child. We just tell them that, okay, imagine, what do you want to be today? What kind of imagination do you want to be today? You can be a lazy cat, or you can be an elephant who's hungry, or you can be a gorilla or a monkey who's taking bath. You can be pirates. You can be whatever you want to be. But that imagination is again leading to what? Leading to that creative aspect, to that cognitive development, where they are again trying to solve the problems. Then read or tell story using different type of tones, different type of voices. Ask children to help you in your daily chores. It could be very small, it could be big as well, but it should be age appropriate and something that they feel confident in. We can ask children to make toys by using paper, cotton, some old cloth. There should be some counting or mathematical concepts where we give them objects and tell them that, okay, let's count this. Connecting with nature is a very important aspect. Most of the time we say that, okay, do not go to mud or something like that. But the teaching that we need to give is that we should not let dirt get inside our mouth or inside our eyes and ears. Otherwise, it's okay. So this also leads to the power of observation. Teaching our child to observe pattern designs in various objects that are around us. We can also give them an activity to make storybooks where they can draw and make their own stories. We can assign an area for them where they do this creative work, whatever they want to do. It could be writing, it could be reading, it could be drawing. There can be read aloud stories where parents listen to children reading aloud stories, learning to add and subtract by using vegetables that we have. Okay, 5 carrots away from these 10 carrots. How many carrots will I have? Things like that. Making up new words, giving them some sounds or consonants, and then just ask them to make some new word and what that word has meaning for them. Having fun with calendars, counting the number of Mondays, Sundays, what kind of season change happens according to the different months. Taking care of the environment, taking care of the plants or animals if we have in the home. Doing puzzles using just newspaper and magazines. We don't need to buy expensive puzzle works for our children. We can just ask them, okay, let's try to find alphabets in this magazine, which can help you create your friend's name or your teacher's name. So this way the child also learns spelling. So the last point, but not the least, monitor. Monitoring is very important, not just to say that, okay, our child growth is slow or fast, but to just see that, okay, where our child is reaching to, where our child is having this sort of development. Like, can they classify objects based on size, color, shape? Can they join dots and complex pictures? Can they follow a pattern and copy it? Can they answer simple riddles? And can they hold picture storybooks correctly or not, turn pages or not? Things like that. So these would be my references for the presentation. And I would like to end my presentation by thanking you all for your support and patience. Thank you so much. So now, if any one of you have any question or any doubt, please feel free to ask in the chat box. You can type your question in the chat box and ask any question, or you can personally reach me on my email ID, which is soumyata.tiwari@rgsnoida.com. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask.
All right, so I request the parents, if you have any doubt, any question you wish to put up, you can write in the chat box. Okay, so Etusham Ali is asking to share the references in slides. Okay. Any doubt, parents, you wish to ask?
These are my references for the content. And
yes, please go ahead. You can ask an oral question if you want to. Now we'll address it.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Supriya. My son is Rudraksh. He's in class 1, Robin section. The only concern of mine that he is ongoing with his speech therapy thing.
he's ongoing
with speech therapy.
Okay, speech therapy.
Because he is having profound hearing loss from left ear,
yeah.
so he went through cochlear implant. So now he's into speech therapy. So sometime, I know I have asked so many times these questions. Sometime basic Hindi, the language which we are using in a house, that mother tongue, and English and Hindi together, they all collapse together and they make the child and parents also confused. In this pandemic, we can't send to the direct classes, and all the teachers are really helpful. In fact, I'm lucky to have teachers for Rudraksh. They are very helpful. But still, as a parent, sometimes I feel I'm lacking somewhere to, that very thin line. किसको क्या बताऊं मैं? The same चीज का अलग-अलग आ रहा है. Sometimes two pronunciation is similar. Like sometimes जैसे मैं कहती हूँ S लिखो, स लिखो, तो he writes C. He is correct क्योंकि हमने वही बताया है उसको. C, S का भी स है, like that. So these are things, little bit hurdling for me.
I
And speech
understand.
में तो अलग जाता है, yeah.
Definitely. So, okay, so first of all, just like do not be too hard on yourself. You're doing an excellent job. It's just that, okay, now one approach may be saying this thing ki sa likho and wo C agar likh raha hai, so just try to, it means that there is some sort of problem. So, वहाँ पे what we can do is like we can use some sort of sounds where we ask the child to create certain words and certain consonants, and we ask the child to just say ki, okay, this sound resonates like what, and we can ask the child to look become more observant towards the mouthing of our mouth, and become more observant towards the tongue movement that we have, and we can in fact be more we can use our facial expressions and the way we move our lips and tongue, and the way we join our teeth for some sound, and for some sound we are just opening our mouths. So us tarike se the child will be better able to have grasp this sort of knowledge. However, even if it takes time, it's fine. Do not be hard on yourself. Do not get disheartened that maybe you are not doing something correct, because that is not the case. Slowly and gradually, Abhi, the child is very young. There are a lot of years ahead, and there are a lot of uh, new approaches ahead which the child will be exposed to. So it's okay. If he is having some difficulty right now, that's completely all right. Later on, the child will develop certain skills and certain knowledges in regards to this.
That skill is missing, ma'am. I'm not telling कि वो गलत सुन रहा है. If I'm saying cat,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
he is reading, if he is putting C also, मतलब if he is putting K also, then fine, क्योंकि वो क सुन रहा है. वो
Yes.
मेरा काम है. That's what I'm trying to say. कि that little things ना make things more complicated for
It's
me.
okay. आपका मतलब आपका
Because
काम
we are
है,
not
but
technically
it's okay.
qualified. I'm a banker. You can ask me anything related to finance. I will close my eyes and I will let you know. Like, yeah, ये है. But वो चीज करने में थोड़ा सा time लगता है. That is the lacking. So I
That
was
is why
expecting
I'm telling you not to
training
be
हो
hard
जाए
on
हमारी
your own
parents की
self.
भी थोड़ी सी.
Right. Don't be hard on yourself. You know
No, not
plenty,
at all.
and it's okay. It's okay.
Looking
Certain
forward for more
activities.
webinars and more trainings from your end till this pandemic goes on.
Sure, sure. But yeah, so it's
Thank you so
okay.
much.
Things will happen.
Hello, ma'am. I have a question for my son.
Yes.
My son is Arav, grade one, Robin. He's doing good with studies. So first of all, I should start with appreciating all the teachers, especially Sonal ma'am. I'm sure I can't even do 10% of the effort she's been putting into the kids, all the kids. So it goes to entire Raghav. I put my son in some other school last year, but pandemic we couldn't put in much effort, so we put him in Raghav. My daughter is in seventh class, same Raghav school. So teachers have been doing very very good, but my only concern, I'm not sure if it should be concerned, but he's six, but at times he still puts mirror images of the words and alphabets and the numbers. Seven he'll write a mirror image at times. C, S, any number, any alphabet. He at times he's doing so good in studies at times. Other times he doesn't know what to do. Just put the mirror images. Should I be of concern?
It's not of a very big concern, but however, we can teach our child to just be more observant and more careful about this. So we can take a big paper, a chart paper, or maybe an A4 size paper, and just see that what mirror images he's making for what kind of particular alphabets, and just let that come to the notice
It's
of
not
the child.
permanent. That's what I'm saying. It's not permanent. I would say he's better than whatever is going on with the sessions right now
Then
or the
it's
syllabus.
fine, sir.
He's
Then it's
ahead.
fine. It's fine, sir. You don't have to worry about this. They are still learning, and sometimes it gets confusing. Sometimes to a lot of grown-ups also, certain alphabets get very confusing. So it's fine for. I don't think
Okay.
that what you are describing, it's a big concern. However, if something like that continues, or if you think that it could be a fun activity, basically, is what I'm trying to say, where you can use a mirror to show that, okay, see now, if I place a mirror for this alphabet, see how it looks and see what you made. So, do you see some sort of similarity? Let Papa also draw something and then we will see. So, it should not be just alphabets, it could be things also where we put mirror. We actually use a mirror to show that how mirror effect or this mirror duplicacy works. So because of that, then next time when the child writes something, they will be memorizing this activity and they will be more mindful while writing. So it is a very
Thank you.
harmless sort of an activity which could be very fun. So this activity I would suggest. However, there is nothing
Alright.
to be alarmed about.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Soumita ma'am, one of the parent is asking a question. What if the child is throwing tantrums every day and is not ready to cooperate? So if you could just throw some light on this question.
Sure. So if this is happening, we first need to understand that why is this child behaving in this particular manner? Why? Because most of the time when child is throwing tantrums or showing challenging behavior, it is because they feel like, okay, if I will not behave this aggressively or if I will not behave this dominating way, my needs will not be satisfied, my desires will not be satisfied. So if this is the thought, we need to replace that ideology, that belief that if you are very calm, if you are very in that comfort zone, then your needs and desires will automatically get fulfilled. And if you want to convey your needs and desire, there are some ways where we use our words, where we use our language, where we use our maybe body actions to depict that, yes, this is what I am feeling. So because children are not able to understand or segregate to what they are feeling, so they just feel like this rush of emotion and they feel like this urgency that if I do not behave like this, my desires will not get fulfilled. So in that case, when the episode or when the incident is happening, you just be very calm. You just tell your child that I understand that you want something. However, I would want you to just first relax, calm down, use words and sentences like I want this, I want that, I want you to, something like this, and then accordingly reciprocate. If there are certain things that cannot be fulfilled at that particular moment, we need to use language like, okay, I love you, I understand that you want this, however, because of so and so reason, because of this current situation, this is not a possibility at this particular moment. However, we will work towards it and we will see if this can be a possibility in the near future. And using these terms like I love you, I care for you, I want to help you, I adore you, these statements are very important to use when we are trying to calm down our child. And we can also use statements like, you you also take some time to sit, I also take some time to sit. And when you feel that you are ready to use words, when you are ready to use language to communicate what you're feeling, then we can talk and I am here to listen to you. I'll be waiting for you. These kind of terms, when we talk about these kind of languages, it really helps. Thank you so much.
All right. So, dear parents, I am afraid due to time constraints, we cannot take up any further queries. However, you are free to write us on the email ID which Soumita ma'am has shared with us. You can write whatever you want to, whatever you wish to ask. You can always contact Soumita ma'am and she'll be ready to help us. So, this brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you, Soumita ma'am, for enlightening us with this knowledgeable presentation. It was wonderful attending the webinar. I would also like to thank our dear parents for this, for their precious time. I express a deep gratitude for your enthusiasm, for your cooperation. Thank you once again, dear parents, and we shall now end the meeting. Yes? Thank you, everyone.